Today we're going to talk about what we use for school. Some of it I love, some of it I don't love.
In our homeschool, we do work out of workbooks, especially during independent work time, which I think is very important for every child. How do you feel about independent work time, Chloe?
I like it. I guess my siblings think it's too independent.
Too independent?
Even though it's called independent work time.
They could use a little more help.
Yeah.
All right. But it is so important for them to have that time to challenge themselves and see what they can do. Most of the time, we actually teach through a curriculum called the Family School Online, which is a faith-based curriculum. And it is fantastic for families because it's set up with the idea of the one-room schoolhouse. So you teach all your children one lesson per day from the family school. It covers 6 different subjects per week, and it teaches history, language arts, geography, art, music, and science. And the science is amazing. And at the end of each lesson, there is a list of all the assignments per grade. Well, not really grade, they go by level of understanding. So then you assign the assignments based on your child's level of understanding and their abilities. If you don't want to assign anything, you don't have to. Everything is inside the lesson. They actually have 2 different versions, the open and go version and the dive deep. If you have older children, you want to teach to the oldest child with the dive deep. If you have younger children, you can just open it up and go with the lesson. It's all online. You stream it for $40 a month right now. And all the links are in there, everything you need to print out. It is wonderful. The academic information is challenging yet engaging. It has activities throughout, attention activities. How do you feel about the family school, Chloe?
Well, I like it a lot because it's not just like you're given a book to learn from or you're just being told what to do in a boring way. Yeah.
I adapt everything to my kids. So even the curriculum we're going to show you today, I individualize it. And that's because our focus is mastery in our homeschool. I do not force them to continue to do the same work on something they already know. We move forward, we move on. We are going to be showing you the curriculum that I feel is the most essential to their overall academic education when it comes to them possibly integrating back in or transitioning back into a traditional setting just to keep them prepared. Other than this curriculum, we do a lot of project-based learning and interest-led learning.
This is Flash Kids Reading Comprehension book, and it's for 6th grade. And I like it a lot because it's not like their other reading comprehension books where it's just multiple choice. You're actually like reading a story and answering out questions, doing Venn diagrams. You're not just doing, oh, this part happened, oh, this story. It's about this part. And it actually teaches you real feelings. Like there was this one story, Scuba and Snooba, where it was teaching us the different things on scuba diving and snuba diving. Writing it down is important, so that's why I like Flash Kids Reading Comprehension books. It's still fun, but it's not overkill. This is a spelling workout book. These actually have like a little story with all your list words in it. We read it to the class or to our family members, and we talk about it. Like this one, you start with the words with GNWR and TCH. And then they have like a little tip at the beginning which gives you some of the answers. Don't tell my mom that. So there's word clues like these I like a lot because it's just filling in the words where I think they go. And I normally get them correct, so they're pretty much my favorite thing to do. And I have the definitions or the dictionary. On the back they have little, you correct this, then you write something down here. This one I wrote a mini mystery called The Case of the Missing Mummy Corpse. There's definitely a lot more to the story than just like 2 lines, but I had to put it on different paper because it wouldn't fit. What we did with my mini mystery I wrote, The Missing Mummy Corpse, was I actually filmed it as I was the reporter Carmen Van Gogh, who went and actually found the missing mummy corpse. That's why I like the spelling workout book a lot more, and it teaches me a lot more than just going through the words.
Handwriting Without Tears starts with printing and goes all the way through advanced cursive writing. And I love this book because it really takes you through how to write each and every letter. So first you make the magic C, is what they call it, because the magic C can become a D, and it can become a G, and many other letters. And so they show you how to hold your pencil, practicing the different ways, the different types of lines and loops and curves of cursive, and then they just go through the actual letters and just practicing first the letter by itself and then connecting the letter to another letter. We will usually do 1 page of handwriting a day.
The Ramona Quimby journal is better than a regular journal because a regular journal has blank pages where you have to imagine things to write. But the Ramona Quimby journal actually spikes your imagination, so it gets more out of you. As there's this 1 page called Life's Not Fair where when you're moody or annoyed, you write about why life's not fair to you. And there was another one, a personality quiz, where it was telling you what character you were in Ramona Quimby's life, and that's what I like about the Ramona Quimby journal. I had this BFG journal like this, and I was able to make food from the BFG, and it was super fun because it wasn't like just writing words down on paper. It was activities that I could do, that I could make. So that's why it's different from other journals.
I've used these sentence diagramming books to teach grammar to all of my children. When I started teaching my kids grammar out of books, like language arts books, they were so confused. They didn't understand what an adjective was. But here in these diagramming sentence books, it explains them very clearly. This entire lesson can be taught in less than 5 minutes. And the kids really grasp the idea that adjectives don't just modify a noun that's a subject, but they can modify a noun anywhere in the sentence. After teaching a short lesson, we then move into the practice, where first they correct the errors in diagrams already laid out for them. Then they get to diagram the sentences themselves on diagrams that are already drawn out. But their minds start to make connections, and they start to understand how the words are interacting with each other within the sentence. After practicing diagramming a sentence, they then get to write their own sentence for the diagram. And for the last exercise for each lesson, they now get to diagram all by themselves each sentence that's given to them. They are a wonderful way to take an abstract concept and make it concrete. I know you'll find that sentence diagramming can be a powerful way of teaching your child the power of a sentence. It's been a long road for me in finding a good language arts series that I actually feel is beneficial to my children and their education. These language arts books, they encompass grammar, writing, reading comprehension, language development, sentence structure. If you didn't want to do diagramming sentences separately, ABEKA will teach them how to diagram sentences. I have found that my children have gained a more well-rounded understanding of language arts through the use of ABEKA books. In Language Arts 1 has a variety of worksheets with crossword puzzles, lots of bright pictures. My kids especially appreciated the colorful pictures and the use of scripture. My son was able to learn how to create sentences using words that were given to him. And he is a reluctant writer. In fact, he despises writing. He would not pick up a pencil until he was ready to pick up a pencil. And it didn't happen until he was about 6 and a half. and then he started to write. However, as he has used ABEKA, he has learned that he is a great writer, and he's become much more confident in his abilities in forming very articulated sentences. This is ABEKA Phonics and Language 2, and I really love to show the pages later on in the book because on christianbook.com you can see a lot of the beginning pages of each book, and so I highly recommend using their website when looking through curriculum. It is extremely helpful. And then you can decide if christianbook.com is cheaper or if you can find it on Amazon cheaper. This is grade 2, and you can see this is really great knowledge. Still, we're getting that variety. There are coloring pages for those kids that really love to add that to their work. By the end of book 2, they are beginning to understand subjects and verbs and how to begin the process of diagramming these. By the time they reach 6th grade, they still have worksheets that are a bit more fun for the child with little clues and a crossword puzzle. In this book, there's a student writer's handbook that is extremely helpful. It covers all the different types of writing, like book reports, friendly letters, different kinds of writing, and how to be most successful at actually executing the assignment.
So Chloe's going to be starting 7th grade this year, and my first daughter skipped middle school altogether, so this will be my first time planning for a middle schooler. She will be doing half of the time on Williamsburg Academy, which I have another video all about that, and the other half she will be doing classes with us privately here at our homeschool. And so we will be needing to personalize her education, especially with language arts and with math. We like to do Saxon. We're going to continue with Saxon. Yeah. But language arts, we're going to make it a little different this time. She's going to get a choice. So what are we doing for language arts?
So what we're doing for language arts is we're going to, I'm going to pick books like classic novels or books I want to read, and we're going to do a study guide through
PROGENY Press. And we're finding those study guides on christianbook.com for about $20 each. You can get CD-ROMs for $15, or you can get the book. We will be looking into a writing program. I've been using the high school writing program for my high schooler, the one-year adventure novel. I will put the link below. And we will be looking into their middle school program that they have for her writing so that she can get into creative writing a little bit more and have a little fun with that.
I've used Saxon Math from the very start. I knew that it was important that whatever math program I decided to use, I stuck with it. There are so many different tricks to doing math and little shortcuts and little hints. You have to actually have the foundational knowledge in order to learn those little tricks. When you stick with one program, math is much easier. What's really fun about Saxon is that every 10 lessons, it has an investigation. They are able to use the investigation to take the abstract and make it concrete. They understand how it's used in real life. Each lesson begins with a warm-up, which honestly I've never done with my kids. I skip that and I go right into new concept. You might wonder why I skip it, because every lesson is 30 problems, and there's a practice set that can be anywhere from 2 or 3 problems to even 8 or 9 or 10. And so that's almost 40 problems of math in a day. And my kids just can't do that much math on top of a warm-up. So we just skip straight over to new concept. And I teach this and I read through it. If you can read through it the night before, that would be extremely beneficial. But I usually just read it right there with my kid and try to understand it. And sometimes I really get it, and sometimes it takes me a while. I have been learning math properly for the first time while homeschooling my children. Yes, this book may look boring. Yes, it may be difficult for some kids that are used to color and TV and such to get interested in it, but that's where you step in as the teacher. And you make it more interesting. Use manipulatives, create little games, buy little games. If we're learning money, get play money. Melissa and Doug have a great money set that I have used for years. Sometimes I start teaching a Saxon lesson and I wonder, why do they start with simple subtraction? She's been doing that since kindergarten. And then I start to understand, because they're building on what the child already knows. And they're helping the child feel confident and comfortable with what they already know. and to apply it in a new way. And so now we're talking about dates, time elapse, right? You need to put the later date and minus the earlier date. And so then the child starts to make connections and understand. After the lesson, the new concept, we move into lesson practice, where they actually apply that practice. When I teach my child, I sit with them for maybe a total of 20 minutes. I teach them a new concept, we do the examples together, and then I watch as they do the practice set, and I sit there for questions. After they've done that and we make sure that they thoroughly understand the new concept, I then assign them their mixed practice problem sets. There are 30 problems for each of these lessons in this grade level. The younger grade levels have 20. So some of my kids are very reluctant learners, and I will only assign odds one day and evens the next. Or for those that really especially hate math and are building their confidence in it, because really a hatred of something is because you feel completely incompetent at it. I try to build up their confidence by doing the new concept and the lesson practice together one day. The next day, they do 15 problems, and the day after they do the other 15. Each day that they do any work, we always correct together to make sure that they have mastered their new concept.
Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, make sure you put them down in the comments down below so we can answer them, and make sure you click that subscribe button. Until next time.
So try that again. Yes. Let's talk about. Alright, why don't you tell them what do you think would matter? Today we're going to cover the actual bookwork that we do.
Thanks for watching, and goodbye.